It's Monday, October 28th, 2024, and this is episode 321 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike, anything to report here since we last spoke?
Not really. Nothing to really report. Getting excited to go to Zorkfest.
Yeah, me too. Coming up, less than a week now. So
yeah, this time next week we'll be at a craps table somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. Hopefully in Las Vegas.
Oh, hopefully in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Nothing really to report on my end either. We've been doing our sports betting. Hasn't been going too well this last week, but ups and downs.
We have good weeks and then we have bad weeks.
Yeah. The only thing I wanted to mention, Breeders' Cup coming up, and it is in Del Mar again this year. We're not going, obviously, because we're going to be in Zorkfest. It's the same weekend as that. But you and Lynn and I did go a few years ago. So at least we've had that experience. Some of the guys from Poker Night, they're going to be going. So enjoy the Breeders' Cup. Maybe we'll make some bets when we're in Vegas.
Did you ask them what they're charging to get in?
Oh, no. I think that Chris, again, one of the poker guys, he said he was doing the same thing we did where it's like general admission, so you don't really have a seat. He's just going to be walking around, kind of like we did. Yeah. You know, I thought if you and I ever did it again that we'd spend the extra money to actually get a seat because it'd be nice to go to. I mean, it's fun to walk around, but by the time you get to like the fourth or fifth race, it's like, I'd kind of like to sit down for a little bit.
Right.
And you're limited to just finding a cement block to
somewhere to prop up against.
Yeah. But I'm not sure what the prices are, but I know the Breeders' Cup really enjoys coming to Del Mar, and it is a great facility. So,
well, and the weather's nice this time of year there. Yeah. Other places you might have weather issues.
Yeah,
so.
I think people who aren't from San Diego think, oh, well, the summer there and spring break and everything. And yeah, the weather can be nice, but boy, October, beginning of November, it might be the best weather we have all year. Because it's not too hot, sunny skies. You can do all sorts of things outside. So
yeah. It smells good too.
Yeah, right. Those fall smells.
Yeah, it just smells good.
Well, Mike, we've got a lot of voicemails, and I'm thinking, well, let's see if we can get through all of them this episode, and then next episode we'll have time to talk about Zorkfest. So why don't we jump right into it?
Let's do it.
First up is our buddy Eamon.
Hello, gentlemen. Eamon here. It's been a while. I am currently in Lisbon, and I just finished a session at Casino Lisboa. It's quite a big casino, and it has an interesting layout. The ground floor is all slots, and then upstairs is where the table games and some additional slots are. They don't have craps, but they do have a game called French Bank, and it is extremely boring and played on a huge table and takes 3 dealers. Basically, the entire game is you bet whether the roll of 3 dice will be small, 5, 6, 7, or big, 14, 15, 16. Anything else is basically a push, except for you can bet 3 aces, which pays 61 to 1. The roll is actually the dealer putting the 3 dice into a cup and then pouring it into like a little chute, which is only like a few inches long, and then the dice just kind of fall onto the table slowly. It's extremely anticlimactic, but it was extremely popular, and the tables were packed. I did get to play some blackjack. You have to buy chips at the cage and then take them to the table, so no cash transactions with the dealers. I did find interesting that they have 200 euro chips. I don't know if I've seen 200 denomination chips before. Also, they had a few Caribbean stud tables. I think there was actually 5 or 6 of them, and a sick boat table. So overall, the vibe was kind of stale. It's not like super exciting. It's kind of like they put tables in a big open space. So a bit odd, but I did leave a winner, so no complaints. Anyways, hope you're doing well. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Eamon.
I like Casino Lisboa, Mark. Lisboa.
Yeah, that's
Lisboa.
Lisbon. Lisboa, right, is Lisbon in Portuguese, right?
Right. Casino Lisboa.
Have you ever seen 200? Well, this is 200 euro, but $200, anything 200? Yeah, that's
No.
never.
That's very strange.
Yeah,
Of
interesting.
course, it's Lisbon, so.
Yeah, they've got their own way of doing things.
Yeah.
They're their own boss. So
Maybe so you can bet 1,000 euros with 5 $200 chips instead
that's
of
not a bad idea, actually. Yeah.
2 500s or 10 100s.
All
That's
right.
it.
I'm going to push for that then. Let's do this, Mike. And of course, we'll forget, so we won't really do it. But let's do this, Mike. When we're in Vegas, every casino we go to, ask if they have $200 chips. And if they don't, ask why they don't.
Yeah. And then I was going to bet 200 on the line. It's just easier for me if it's one chip.
That's right. Mike, you only have one chip out there. Oh, well, God, every time I'm trying to bet 200.
Well, what we should do is push casinos to put quarters on every table.
Quarters meaning like 25 cents?
25 cents,
Oh, yeah.
or 50-cent pieces. That way you can bet a $15 eight, right?
Let's
Get
ask
paid
them
the correct amount.
Let's go to Win and ask them.
Oh, yeah.
You really need 25-cent chips on the tables.
Yeah, when are you going to get those?
Look out, Las Vegas casinos. Here we come.
Maybe the guys over at Crap Vegas can push for that.
Yeah, they're always at Win. We'll see Josh next week. We'll ask him about that. See, we're not going to do any of this stuff. We're going to forget. I got to re-listen to this episode now and write stuff down because I'm not writing it down right now. Let's talk about this game, French Bank, or Banca Francesa in Portuguese. I probably butchered that. Yeah, 3 dice, and there are only 3 bets on the table, Dr. Mike.
Which I have to make all 3 just to be satisfied, right?
And you can, but here's the problem with it. Okay, 3 bets. You can bet small, which is the total is 5, 6, 7. You can bet big, which the total is 14, 15, 16. Or you can bet aces, that all 3 dice are going to have a 1 on them. So the total is 3. So the small and the big, they pay even money. 5, 6, 7, even money. 14, 15, 16, even money. Aces pays 61 to 1. Those are the only 3 bets. If none of the bets win, all of
9 comes up or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, let's say 9 comes up. If none of the bets win, all of the bets push. So the only time you lose a bet is if one of the other 2 bets wins. So if the total is 6, the small bet wins and the big and the aces lose.
Right.
Right. So the only time there's any kind of resolution is if one of these 3 bets win, and in that case, the other 2 lose. Otherwise, it's just a push. That's it.
I'd have a hard time playing this.
Yeah, it's like Eamon said, right?
First of all, there'd be a lot of pushes.
Yeah, a lot,
right?
yeah.
Like a total of 11 and then a total of 10 and it'd be like
you could make side bets, I guess, with some of the other players.
Yeah,
at
with
the table.
other players.
He said it was
every time 18 come up, I would yell, "That should pay something."
I'd actually say that no matter what the total was. That should pay something. You should be able to bet in such a way that every combination, that there's at least one bet on the table that wins.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now, he said it was popular.
He said it was
a lot of people are playing it.
Yeah.
Is it just so you can waste time or get free drinks, or just people in Lisbon, Portugal can't handle real crap?
They dance to their own drum, Mike.
Okay.
All right. In Lisbon.
They dance to their own drum.
Yeah.
All right. I'll have to accept that as an answer.
All right. So
well, not a game for me.
Probably
I just standing there. Now, if there's a bed, if everyone gets a bed next to the table where they can relax and, watch TV or something and bet, then maybe I'd do it.
All right. Yeah. Maybe Eamon will call back and let us know if there are beds by the table, because he didn't mention
Not just
that.
a chair. I need a bed for this game.
He even said there are 2 dealers required.
3, he said.
Oh, 3. That's right. 1 to do the dice, and then I guess the other 2 to deal with the huge bets that are out there. Yeah, I get.
The only way this game would be fun, Mark, is if the table was like 20 feet by 20 feet.
It's not that big, but, I'll send you a picture, Mike. It is a pretty big table.
Yeah.
I was looking at an example of it. So,
and you could sit there and order martinis stirred.
Not
Shaken,
stirred.
not stirred.
Shaken. Yeah. Gotta
No,
get
I
your-
want mine stirred.
Oh,
though,
yeah.
Mark.
Well, it's Lisbon after all.
Right.
They do things a little differently there.
Right. They beat to their own drum.
Okay.
Or they whatever.
Yeah, they beat to their own. Let's move on. Thank you, Eamon, for that report. Next call.
Hey, how's it going, Mark and Dr. Mike? This is Nick from Connecticut. I'm just calling with a question. I have recently been thinking a lot about this whole sportsbook cash-out option thing. And for those that are unfamiliar, essentially with a lot of these regulated sports books, if you have a bet, let's say it's a 3-team parlay, the first 2 teams have won, it will offer you a cash-out option to get some profit now, depending on what that third leg is. The reason that I'm calling is that I fully believe and agree with this idea of there is no such thing as house money. You know, like when you're on a hot roll at the craps table and you have $5,000 laid all over the numbers, that actually is your money, not house money. However, these offers for the cash out that the sportsbook are given are not good. They're mathematically bad, and they're putting you in a position where you've already been right 2 out of 3 times, and you're then going to sell it for less than what it's worth. So I'm wondering what you guys think about this whole idea, because at the same time, if the cash out, it's a $50 parlay and the cash out's $150, you have to also think to yourself, would I have ever bet 150 of my dollars on one single game? And if the answer is no, are you supposed to take the cash out? I don't know. That's where I'm at. I'm wondering what you guys think. Thanks for everything. Bye.
All right. Yeah. Good question, Nick. So, yeah, what he's talking about, again, let's say you got a 3-team parlay and 2 legs of the parlay have already been decided and you've won both of them. A lot of these online casinos will offer you a cash out where they'll just say, okay, if you want to just cash your bet out right now, here's what we'll offer you. And like Nick said, it's usually not a very good offer. The sportsbook is not going to give you more than the bet is worth at that point, obviously. They want you to cash out. They're giving you a bad offer. So let's talk about this. Nick, you were talking about house money. Like when we're at a craps table, we've pressed up all our bets, and we've got way more out there than we would have if we had just started the roll. You know, when we get our bets pressed up. Oh, I had my 6 pressed up to $900. When, of course, you wouldn't have bet $900 straight away on the 6. Okay? Yeah, that's your money. That's not house money. But in this case, with these parlays, that's not your money after the 2 wins. You made a bet, that 3 things would happen in this example. So you have to think of it in terms of, I made a bet that 3 things were going to happen, and if those 3 things happen, I win, and if they don't, I lose. Now, if they were offering you, more than the bet was worth after the 2 wins, yeah, it'd be worth taking it, but they never do. And if this is something that is a concern to you, trying to decide whether you should or not, yeah, let's say, you're virtually risking $150 on that last game, the way that your parlay has gone. Don't do a 3-team parlay. Do a 2-team parlay, right? Yeah. And then decide if you want to bet a bunch of money on that third game. Then it really is your money and it's not house money, and you can decide. Don't take the cash out because they're never giving you a good deal.
Right. Well, here's the deal, Mark, with this. Casinos are going out of business. They just can't make it anymore.
Yeah.
So they're preying on the one thing that almost every human being is susceptible to, and that's fear.
Yep. There. Okay, so the first part of your sentence was goofy, saying that casinos are going out of business, but the second part was, I think, legitimate. Fear.
It is legitimate. They're playing on your fear.
Yeah.
So they're going to offer you less than you're worth, hoping that you'll be so afraid of losing what you've made or potentially what they're going to give you that you'll cow down and take less.
Yep.
And in essence, it's their fear that you're going to hit all 3 that they're really worried about, right?
Yeah.
It's all driven by fear, and I prefer to be fearless. I just go for it.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen you at the tables. Yeah, a lot of these cash out offers, it's not just on parlays. Let's say, you've just taken a side in a game and the game is not going your way. They'll say, okay, well, your $55 bet, we'll give you $10 for it now if you want to cash out now, because it looks like you're going to lose it. And it's never a good offer. So yeah, you should never take it unless it's life-changing money. And please, I hope you're not betting life-changing money on sports.
Well, here in that instance that you gave right there, the casino's thinking, well, we'll make $55, or we'll make $45 to avoid some comeback or something and losing a bigger amount
to avoid losing anything. Yeah,
and they know that you're afraid, like, oh, this is going to lose. I might as well get $10 back, right? Mm-hmm. I hate when that happens.
Well, don't worry about it. We're giving advice to our listeners. Don't ever take these cash outs.
I'm just, what it is? It's like, let's make a deal, right? TV show.
Yeah.
Where they offer you way less than,
to go.
You should be getting. Yeah. And you have to make some decision. But life's hard enough. They don't need to put us in these dilemmas.
Yeah. All right. We're going to hear from Nick again later in the show. Let's move on to our next call. But I do want to, again, say, gamble however you like. We're telling you don't do the cash out. We're strongly recommending you don't do the cash out. If you want to do it, enjoy your gambling. All right. Next call.
Hey, you can bet on that, guys. Just driving back from the casino here in upstate New York, Del Lago, for the afternoon. Got to watch the Buckeyes play tonight. Hopefully you get this message and they have beaten Oregon, but we'll see. Going to be a good game either way, hopefully. But I had a quick question, and an interesting situation came up at the craps table today. Someone was betting the don't pass very hard, and I was betting the pass, of course, and so were a couple other people. He had $200 to $300 on the don't pass every time, and then would bet more on it when the point was set. And we kept shoving it out every time. Everybody kept losing. He kept winning. Then when he would roll, he kept hitting points. He hit 2, 3, 4, 5 points in a row, and then he passed the dice, and I was the next person. He passed it mid-roll, and I was a little confused. I've never really seen that happen. And my question is, what if I don't want to take the dice? And what if no one else at the table wants to shoot for him? Could we have made him continue to roll? And what the floor would have done if he didn't want to? I could just see if there's 2 or 3 people at the table, he's batting the don't, he keeps hitting points, and then ends up passing the dice, but then maybe I don't want it, the guy that next to me doesn't want it, and it goes back to him. We could just also be standing there. So pretty interesting situation. Broke about even for the day, but love the podcast. Interesting to hear your thoughts on that, if that's ever happened to you or what you have to say. So thanks for the show and keep up the great work.
Yeah, this is similar to, 6 people walking up to a craps table and the game is about to start and nobody wants to roll. Well, then you're not going to have a game. So, somebody will get pressured into rolling or somebody will finally say, okay, I'll do it. The only difference here is that there are probably a lot of wagers on the table already, and there may be some contract bets. There might be some come bets up there, something like that. So they really do need a shooter. Yeah, if everybody refuses, well, then the floor just says, hey, look, somebody's got to shoot. Somebody's got to come up and shoot. And eventually somebody will. So
yeah, they'll say, well, he can take all his bets down, the don't guy. You guys, your contract bets are staying up there no matter what. So you can have your odds back or whatever, but any bet that can't be taken down, you either forfeit it or roll the dice.
Right. So, that kind of pressure would probably, and if there are no contract bets out there, right, and it's the come out roll, nobody wants to shoot, okay, here are all your bets back. Game's over. Yeah. We've talked about this before. Again, gamble however you like. But if you're a don't shooter, really think twice about shooting from the don't. When you bet on the pass line and you have a terrible roll, 0.7 out, the dice move to the next person. There's no more torture for you. When you're on the don't and you keep making points, you still get to roll, right? Yeah. Oh, you lost. Keep rolling. So
keep going.
It can be frustrating. I always think of that guy at Mirage that we saw betting the don't.
Oh, God.
The tables
and we're following him around.
Yeah, because he was the only good shooter, right? And he's getting so frustrated buying in for more money. So anyway.
He's giving into the fear. He doesn't believe in himself, Mark.
That's right. Yeah, and then that football game that he was watching, Ohio State and Oregon. Oregon did win by 1. It was like 32 to 31.
And Ohio State barely won this week.
Yeah. I went to Oregon for my freshman and sophomore year. I graduated from UC San Diego, but I started in Oregon. So I'm definitely behind the Ducks, and they're having a great season. So
they look good again yesterday, too.
Yeah.
So.
I think aren't they number 1?
They're number one.
Yeah, oh, fantastic.
This was their first week at number one,
Yeah.
and they came out and just, played very, very well. So, yeah, that might be the team to take it all this year.
Yeah, it's nice. When I was actually going to Oregon, we weren't that good. I went to all the home games, but wasn't that exciting. Anyway.
It's nice to see it's not Alabama and it's not Ohio Alabama, State and it's not all these teams that are always there, right?
Right. Although Alabama finally showed a little...
Put a game together,
Geez. All right. Next up is Jason.
Hey, gentlemen. It's Jason from Michigan. Been a while since I've called in, but hope you're doing well. I have a question I've always wanted answered, and it happened to me this weekend when I was gambling at Firekeepers Casino in Michigan, where a player was going to take a break, and the pit boss forced him to either leave his chips at the table to hold his seat or to color up all of the blacks that he had, what you call rat hold in his pocket. And the pit boss was adamant he was not going to allow him to leave the table until he gave him all the black chips in his pocket, which then in turn he just gave him a bigger chip. I think he had $1,000 worth of black chips. And they argued back and forth, and finally the customer/player just said, fine, color me up. So I don't understand what the deal is when pit bosses do this. I see them do it more often than not. And I was just wondering if you gentlemen could fill me and the listening audience in on what is the reason for that. I feel like it should be your chips. You can do what you want with them. You can walk out. You can throw them out your car window if you choose, or you can color them up. I don't know why it's their concern, but it sure seems to be. Have a great day. Take care. Stay healthy.
All right, good. Yeah, good
Thanks.
question. So, first of all, casino chips are not your chips. Yes, you could take them with you, throw them out the window, whatever, but the chips belong to the casino. It's their property. Yes, they'll give you cash for them when it's time to cash out, but it is their property. Now, for $100 chips and above, the floor, the pit, the box people, they need to keep track of it. That's part of their accounting. For chips lower than that, they don't care so much, but they need to know where all their black chips and higher have gone. And if somebody is rat holding, that is when somebody just takes chips and starts putting them in their pocket for whatever reason, right? Either to try to fool the casino into thinking that they're losing instead of winning, et cetera, et cetera. That's their way of doing money management. That's what rat holding is. A good box, a good floor will notice when somebody is rat holding black chips, $100 chips, because they need to account for where they are. So that's all that is about. Now, the way that the floor handled this situation, you can't leave the table unless you give me those chips. I don't know. Probably putting some pressure on him. I don't think they'd call security over, and they certainly wouldn't manhandle him, to get the chips out of his pocket because, again, the player is going to want to cash them out, and he could take them to the cashier. But that's all it is. It's just accounting. They want to know if black chips have left the table, and they prefer that when you leave the table, you color up black chips, especially if you've got a lot of them.
Yeah, well, part of that is they prefer you color up all your chips because then they don't have to do fills, which takes time and effort and stuff. So they prefer to give you like a bigger denomination chip when you color up. Remember, we'd be playing at a table at Harrah's, and then a new table would open and we go over there because it wasn't crowded or something, and we take all of our chips, and they always wanted to know.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
so I would just take them and say, I got 14 black and 1 purple or something like that. And, they, okay.
Yeah. And they,
it's just for counting on the table.
Yep. And then that way they can keep track. Yeah, that is all it is. And again, how the floor handles these kinds of situations, that's going to depend on the casino.
There might have been something else going on here too, Mark. The guy might have been a jerk to the
who knows?
Man, or the floor man might have been a jerk to him, and so some animosity,
some personalities, or maybe the floor just doesn't like anybody rat holding. Oh, you're trying to pull something over on us, huh? Well, I'll show you.
Right. Some of them are that way, right? They don't want to, and I think most people do it because it's their way of okay, I'm going to put a little bit away. I'm not going to go back into that.
Yeah.
So they're trying to cut their loss by walking away with some in their pocket, right?
Yeah. Most people, I don't know. I mean, those are the two obvious reasons I can think of. You want to fool the casino into thinking that you're winning less or you're actually losing when you're winning, or it's for money management. I'm sure there could be some other reasons. Yeah, I don't know. When you get up to higher denominations, I wonder if,
Yeah, but it's kind of like if you're a regular and you want them to think you're losing more so you can get more comps.
Yeah.
If you're there occasionally, what does it matter?
Yeah, that's true. But again, if you're rat holing, say, $25 chips, okay, they don't really care so much about that. And are they even looking? And are you going to get away with it, quote unquote, more easily with those lower denominations? All right. This is all speculation. So
I rat hole my dollars. So every once in a while, I put $1 in there. And then that way, if I lose driving home, I can throw the dollars out the window.
Out the window. Right. Like you said, that is something that Jason suggested as an option when you have the chips to throw them out the window. And that certainly is something that you can do.
I'll teach them. There's going to be a bunch of dollar chips over here in the ditch.
So you're throwing some chips out the window there, sir. License and registration.
Then when spring comes, somebody finds $500 in white chips when the snow melts. Hey.
All right. Good story, Dr. Mike. All right. Next call.
Hey, Dr. Mike. Mark, how you doing? This is Brad from Long Beach. Calling with a little trip report here. Took a trip down to Pechanga for my first time back in 4 months since becoming a new dad. Boy, was I ready. Made a beeline to the craps tables. They had 2 tables open, $25, 3, 4, 5 times odds. To my dismay, it looks like they switched back to shuffling the cards after each roll. So I was kind of disappointed. I was looking to play some real craps. I know Hamul had started it and had to switch back. So Pechanga has followed suit for whatever reason. So we just checked out the poker room, which they've now converted into a slot room. And they just have some newly installed crapless bubble craps machine. So I sat down, split in 100, bought all the numbers except 6 and 8. And it was a come out roll. So instead of putting a pass on, I just turned all my bets on and bam, 7 right away. So tried again. And then proceeded to just have a monster roll on this machine, rolling all the extremes multiple times and doing the press, regress strategy. In about 20 minutes, I turned that 100 into 600 or something like that, close to it. So I was happy about that. Played some video poker. They still got NSU deuces, full pay bonus poker, 9-6 triple double. So actually made a couple hundred on video poker. Put in 100 into a dragon link, hit it once, bam, got the bonus, and that paid $350, so quadrupled there. They call it the smoking hot slot room, and I was definitely smoking hot in there. It was awesome. Went down to play some Pai Gow, bought in for 500, and I played for about an hour. I think I won 1 hand and lost 2. I couldn't do anything but push, it seemed like. But I was playing the envy bonus, and I was hitting straights and flushes and whatnot, so that was kind of keeping me in there. Had a great time. Can't wait to go back. We're going to Vegas in November for my birthday, so hoping the good luck continues. Thanks for the show, guys. You guys are awesome. Talk to you.
All right. Good luck, Brad, on your trip. It sounded like Brad was doing something in the background. It almost sounded like shuffling chips.
I'm going to say that's what it was.
Yeah,
it sounded to me like I'm thinking he's shuffling chips.
Yeah, so I'm going to just assume that he was calling from a poker table. He was actually at the poker table between hands, decided to give us a call. That's my story. Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. So Pechanga, for a little while, was doing the, put the cards out on the table 1 through 6 to make it like real craps, and now they're not doing it anymore. So pressure must have come down. We'll never get the straight story how these casinos are able to start doing it and then are told not to. I wonder where it's coming from.
I got a feeling that they just did it on their own, see if anyone would actually call them on it.
Yeah, but who's calling them on it, right? I mean, if
I don't know, the gaming commission.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes sense is it's that, but then, whatever. It's
yeah. I made a few phone calls.
Nice. Oh, you did, yeah. Hey, I got to tell you about something that's going on.
I'm out here in Minnesota now, and I can't take advantage of that, and it kind of irked me. So, I called a few people.
It irked you. You couldn't take advantage of kind of real craps in California, even though you're able to play it on your own when you go to Iowa.
Yeah, play real
That
craps
sounds like
here.
something you'd do.
Oh.
All right.
Well, somebody has to take responsibility for this, Mark.
Good for you, Mike. You've got your ethics. All right. Next up is Julia.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. First, I want to offer both of you condolences on the loss of your dads. I got a little behind on my podcast, and so it wasn't until recently that I realized that it happened. Again, I'm so sorry for your loss. I really always enjoyed hearing stories about Dr. Mike's dad's adventures with his electric scooter in the casino. I just want to give a quick report. I took my middle child, who was turning 21 in July, to Las Vegas for her birthday. We stayed at Nomad. We saw a few shows. We saw Mad Apple, Lady Gaga, which was our special event. And we got to have some nice dinners. I found out that she loves video poker. She picked up on it super quick, understood the strategy, and started geeking out about it as well. So I think I have a video poker buddy. She wouldn't play craps, but she did watch me play at Excalibur when we found a $10 table when we were on our way to see Mac King. Later in July, we went again. I took her and I took my 11-year-old kid, and we stayed at Park MGM, spent a lot of pool time, and met up with big sibling who was in town for a works conference. So that was fun to have all my kids there and enjoy a good little vacation. You can take kids to Vegas and have fun. And then on my own, I took a late summer trip and an early October trip for my birthday, both at the Wynn. No craps there. The limits are just too high for my bankroll. But I played a lot of video poker and slots and had a relaxing time. I was hoping that I could come out for Zorkfest, but the dates just didn't work with my work schedule. I will be able to be in town on a Sunday, so I might get to see you guys if you're at the Horseshoe for the coffee dice. I heard it sold out, but I was figuring I'd wander over and, at least wave at the podcast folks whose podcasts I listen to. Hope you guys are well. As always, love the podcast, and take care. This is Julia.
All right, Julia. Yeah, thank you for the kind words.
Yes, thank you very much.
So Coffee Dice at Zorkfest is going to be on Sunday. So that's November 2nd, Sunday at 8 a.m. at Horseshoe. Now, when she said it's sold out, yes, it is. That just means you won't be able to get on the table that we're all going to be out. But yeah, come on out, say hi. Hopefully there'll be some other tables open too, so you'll be able to play some craps. And, after our session, I think it's scheduled for like 90 minutes. We'll probably start moving around to different tables, or, we'll see how it goes. So definitely come by.
Yes, definitely. She was talking about your kids can have fun in Vegas. Mm-hmm. And just this week, the kids, when we have free time at school, they like to ask me questions about stuff. And one boy said, yeah, I went to Vegas with my parents. He's like 15. And it's boring. I didn't really care for it. And I'm like, really? Because my daughters, when they were younger, loved it. So I was thinking, well, what did his parents do?
That's the thing, right? If you're going with your kids, you don't go on a gambling trip and bring your kids along. Go on a family vacation and go to the Pinball Hall of Fame and go to an amusement park. And
there's tons of stuff for kids. Yeah. My girls always loved it. I mean, well, they're girls too, so just walking through the mall was always fun for them. But yeah, I thought that was funny. Yeah, you can take kids to Vegas. Yeah. And if you do want to do some gambling, when they go to bed, if one of you, like mom or dad, wants to go, or if they're old enough, they can stay in the room by themselves.
Yeah. You just got to cater your trip. That's all.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully, Julia, we'll see you then on that Sunday. Let's hear from Nick again.
Hey, Mike and Dr. Mark. Oh, I said it backwards.
Oh.
This is Nick from Connecticut calling back real quick just to add something that I wanted to mention. I've been seeing a game recently that's now popped up on 2 of the regulated gambling sites in Connecticut, which are run through the Mashantucket tribe over at Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods. And this game is live dealer video poker. And what it is what it sounds like. It's a live dealer. She puts out 5 cards. You click on webcam, what cards you want to hold. She pulls out, replacement cards for each card. Curious why they would be doing something like this. My best guess is that they maybe make better money on table games versus machines with some sort of tax thing or something, and so it's better for them to have it be a live dealer, but just seems absolutely bizarre to see live dealer video poker even exist. Thanks.
I think it's just a gimmick. I think that's the only reason they're doing it. Yeah.
I would guess probably the dealer's very pretty, too.
That could be, right? I know there's some people who maybe are thinking, oh, well, at least they're using real cards. I don't trust those online random card generators, for video poker. No, it's just a gimmick. I can't imagine why the casinos would want to do it because it's more overhead. They'd prefer just the regular video game. So.
Right. They got to pay that person. It's probably a gimmick. And if Nick is playing sometime and it comes up and he goes into that and it's me without a shirt dealing the cards, he'll understand why.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the casino's motivation in this case, to be honest.
They're catering to a particular group of people, Mark.
Yeah, but that niche is so small and specific, pinpointed. Yeah,
it's probably about maybe one person that I can think of.
Who's that, Dr. Mike? Do you have a name?
Yeah, it's a guy named Curtis. He
Curtis
lives in Milwaukee. Curtis from Milwaukee.
Shout out to Curtis. All right, next call.
Hey guys, Nathan from Sacramento. So, kind of a funny story. Usually I go to Las Vegas or Reno, but we have the local Hard Rock here by Sacramento, and I got going kind of often there because I actually like the stadium craps and baccarat. I do the split screen and play both games at the same time. Anyway, I ended up getting not their top card by invite, but the one less in less than a month, and then I got basically the next month I got it again, so I was like, oh, okay, my offer should be pretty good. Well, they went to 0. And the host said, well, I don't know what's going on. Next month, you're going to get better because you have decent play. So long story short, I got $5 food and $10 free play. Now, mind you, they've been open 5 years, and I've always got anywhere from 50 to, 100 free play. Not crazy good, but something decent. Well, anyway, they said that I had too many trips of 0 play, and I know everybody might say, well, what did you think they were going to say if you go and you don't play? Well, the thing is, I've done that for 5 years and never been an issue because I have gone and not played. I get something to eat, get my free play. But I just figured I always played enough to not make a difference. But maybe they got a new marketing director or something. I don't know. But anyway, I had told them about the craps down in San Diego area, how they were using the cards, 1 through 6. And everybody looked at me like I was crazy. I didn't know what I was talking about. They said, no, in California, we have to use cards. I said, no, I know that. I said, I'm telling you how they're doing it down in, Pachanga and the other place, but I think they have since stopped at either one or both of those. Well, they couldn't understand. They just, I said, looked at me like I was crazy. So after I didn't go for a couple months, I just went back, and they're doing it there now. And it's really helped their game. They actually have a game now with, doing the 1 through 6 on the layout. Anyhow, I just thought that was kind of funny that nobody could understand what I was talking about, and now they end up doing it. So we'll see how long it lasts there. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah, we'll see how long it lasts there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I'd really like to know.
You need to make a call, Dr. Mike.
Yeah, I could call. I've never been a big fan of people in Sacramento, and
I want to bring to your attention something that's going on. Yeah. So, Nathan, we feel your pain. So, ADT, we've talked about it before, just briefly, stands for average daily theoretical. Really, it stands for average daily theoretical loss. The casino wants to know, on average, how much theoretically will you lose on a trip to the casino based on the game you're playing, how much you're wagering, that kind of thing. It is stupid for casinos to only use that tool to rate you. It's a tool. It's a good tool in some circumstances, but to only use that, the problem is, and this is happening to Nathan, when you show up to the casino and you don't play, say you just want to get some food, and somehow they know you're there because you slid your card, you use your points. They count that as a $0 day. You didn't risk anything. So if you go 2 days to the casino, in one day, your theoretical loss is $500. And then you go the next day, you don't play, so your theoretical loss is zero. They average that. The A in ADT stands for average. And your average loss on a day when you go is $250, according to them. And that's just not right. They need to take other things into account. The boys over at Crab Vegas talked about how there are plenty of casinos who look at your trip as opposed to your ADT. So if you do play on that Sunday when you leave and you only played for 10 minutes and use your card, they don't count that as an ADT against you. You know,
Right.
the idea behind these tools is how valuable a customer are you for them? And they're not getting good information if they're averaging in 0 days, right? They need to take some of these things into account. And unfortunately, the truth is, yeah, you've got to play this game if you don't want to have what happened to Nathan, where he's getting these terrible offers, even though he's probably a great customer for them. So who knows? Maybe Hard Rock, it used to be one way and now they've changed their policy because he said it used to be fine for him and he was getting these great offers. So yeah, you do have to be aware of that. And we've warned people against, be careful when you go to the casinos and they know that you're there somehow and you don't play because that could adversely affect your offers.
You know what's funny about that, Mark, is that they're trying to use a scientific method to determine who's valuable, right?
Yeah.
And for casinos who are so paranoid about everything, they can't even get that right.
Yeah.
They're picking and choosing what they want to program in instead of putting everything in. And it just doesn't make sense. I mean, you'd think they'd be smarter, but, well.
Yeah. Those days when you're just showing up for food, I mean, why do they care? Why do they count that as a trip? Why?
They should look at that as a good thing. You want them to come to your casino as much as possible.
They should look at that as a good thing because if all you're doing is using your comps to get food, those are comps they gave you.
Well, and also they should realize that, hey, he's using his comps, which means he's going to run low and he's going to want more comps. So he's going to be here gambling, right?
Yeah.
Anything to get someone in the door is good. Why penalize them?
Yeah. All right. So casino executives, they're not listening to us, so nothing's going to change. But for the people who are listening to us, yeah, be careful. Those 0 play days could hurt you. So just be aware of that.
I think we need to have everybody start alerting the casinos, just players. Can I speak with the shift manager, please? Maybe you guys should be listening to You Can Bet on That. Increase your revenue. You wouldn't be going out of business.
The executives, they do like seeing numbers, right? So it's like you were saying, Mike, this supposedly scientific way of looking at it. If there's a hard number there, they can deal with that. They don't have to get into, well, this guy. All right, enough. We're moving on, Dr. Mike. Next up's our buddy Bert.
Can't fix everything in the world.
Mark, Dr. Mike, it's Bert from Virginia again. My wife and I decided to take the long Indigenous Peoples Day weekend and go up to Buffalo and then visit Toronto. So while we were in Buffalo, we checked out the Seneca Casino there. Interesting place. Pretty decent casino. I like the fact that their smoking area is almost like a separate casino. So the larger casino is completely non-smoking. So very cool there. Only there for a couple of hours. Didn't really get to do much. Played some video poker and that was about it. We spent the rest of the weekend in Toronto. So we drove up to Toronto and checked out the casino at Great Canadian, I think is what it's called. It's a weird casino. Not sure if you guys have ever heard about it. It feels like two completely separate casinos. The one, low ceiling, kind of tight, like a normal casino you would expect. But the larger body of it is almost like they added on. I did some research and they did. It was a casino attached to a horse track. And then they bought by another company and they built a separate one. But what they built is a giant room. There's no walls. The ceiling is super high. It's just a giant rectangle. There's no walls. And the way they set it up is the outside of this rectangle is all slot machines. But the entire center of it is all the table games, all jumbled in there together. So it's weird when you walk in, you just see slots. And as you get toward the center, it's just miles and miles of table games. And it only had 2 craps tables. Only one was open the night we were there. But it's a weird setup. It doesn't feel welcoming. The huge high ceiling. The older casino actually felt better and more like a normal casino. Won a little bit of money there on video poker. Didn't get to play on the craps table. The one they had open was packed the whole time I was there. I kept going back to check, and it was packed. They also have a lot of stadium gaming. They have stadium baccarat, stadium craps, the multi-game stadium everywhere, and those were packed as well. An interesting trip. I enjoyed myself. I liked visiting Canada. Toronto was a great city. Just a fun place to hang out and get some good food and just people watching. But I wanted to give you an update on Seneca and Great Canadian. Hope you guys are doing well. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Bert. Oh, it's so great when Bert calls with that late night FM radio voice, right? He comes on.
Yeah, right.
It's so smooth.
Oh, Bert, he's got the best voice.
So
I wished
good.
I had a voice like that.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Bert, for the, I don't know, Dr. Mike, if we're going to ever get up to those New York, Niagara Falls, Canada, Toronto area.
I've always wanted to go to Buffalo.
Yeah.
And that might be happening this coming summer.
Oh, really? As part of your...
Yeah, we're going to drive to Maine. That's for sure.
That's right, because you don't have Maine on your list
of
states to visit.
Of states, right? Maine, yeah.
And then your mother-in-law,
so maybe,
West Virginia,
we're kind of going up that way. So maybe it's Buffalo. It's kind of on the way, right?
I don't really know that area, but you're saying this now. Keep in mind that what you're saying right now might show up on a future episode, where we dreamily go back and remember you claiming that you were going to do this and you never got close.
Well, yeah, I have no problem with that. That's I have no problem at all with that. But yeah, I would like to go to Buffalo, and then I'd like to go to Toronto. And I don't know if Bert and his wife did this, but go up in that big tall building. I can't remember what it's called. And you can actually look down into the stadium down below.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah,
into the Blue Jay Stadium. Yeah. That's
so.
My goal. That's all I want to do.
Yeah. You've been to Canada before.
Oh,
right?
I've been to Canada many times.
Oh, with
never Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Last call.
Hi, you can bet on that. This is August from New York. I haven't called in a couple of years. So I thought I'd give you a trip report on Del Lago Resort and Casino. So I went there yesterday to watch the Bills game and play some games. And it turned out to be a very good trip for me. I went up to the roulette table first. I missed the first spin, and on the second spin, I hit my big number, which I always play number 20. I had 50 straight up and 50 on the split, so that was a pretty good way to start the trip. Did really well at craps, hit a lot of hard ways. Crew was loving it. I was betting for them too. Used my food voucher there, which is also at the sports book. It says 1,000 square feet of LED screens. Kind of a funny way to convey that information, but yeah, their sports book, you can see it. It's like open to the casino. So if you're standing on the right side of the craps table, you can actually watch while you play. They have 2 craps tables, 10 times odds. It was $15 minimum. They do have the fire bet up to $5 with the normal payouts. For blackjack, they've got the Lucky Lady side bet, which is my personal favorite. I think they had some tables with the soft 17 stand, mostly shoe games. Actually, I think they were all shoe games. So this is new. They just put this in because it wasn't there the last time I was there. On their roulette tables, you know how like the board, it usually has like say around 14 numbers and just says the numbers, and then maybe there's another screen that says like, oh, it's like 60% red, 40% black, and then first, second, and third 12. Like it does some breakdown. Well, this was like a baccarat screen. It was incredibly elaborate, very specific. It would say like, the last 5 spins have been red, the last 3 have been third 12, and then it'll give you like a list of 4 numbers. These numbers have hit at least twice in the last 20 spins, and then here's some numbers that haven't hit in a long time. And so when I was standing at the craps table, the roulette table was right next to where I was standing, and I was sort of watching it. And this was a different one from when I hit the 20 on the first time. And I noticed it said 20 has not been hit in 105 spins or something like that. And I know that doesn't mean anything, but I was just like, oh, I'll bet it one more time on the way out. So I go over there, $50 on 20 split 17 and 20. Boom, hit it again. I was like, okay, now I'm done. Yeah, it's just a good property overall. I had a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to go back. So love the show and look forward to hearing from you guys on the next episode. Have a good one.
All right. August took advantage of it. It was due.
Yeah.
20 was due.
He's going to love our casino when he comes because our board's going to have all that information plus stuff underneath like August has bet number 20. It'll just say it's been 48 rolls since August bet number 4. Things like that.
Right?
Our pit boss is going to work.
The cocktail server is now approaching the bar.
Yes. Please be prepared with your ID and your money.
There you go, right? Just another example. The casino's giving you all this information that's worthless, right? And even August knows it, right? He says it doesn't matter. But it's kind of fun when you're able to, go up. Oh, yep, they told me it didn't come up for a while. So congratulations,
You're trying to tell the person next to you who's, lost $8,000 already. Look, it says right there 20s due. Read the board.
I like your idea, though, of how detailed our board is. The guy to your left is stuck for $50,000.
A big frowny face.
Yeah,
there,
right.
Be his emojis.
The 50,000's kind of flashing. August talked about this blackjack side bet. I don't know if we've ever talked about it. It's called Lucky Ladies. And it will pay if your first 2 cards total 20. And depending on what the cards are, it'll pay at different odds. So, for example, here's an example pay table. If you're dealt 2 queen of hearts and the dealer has blackjack, you get paid 1,000 to 1. That's the top one. So again, obviously this has to be multi-deck for you to get 2 queen of hearts. And
right.
And that's why it's called Lucky Ladies, is because queens come into the payouts more than the other cards. If you just get 2 queen of hearts, and the dealer doesn't have blackjack, it pays 125 to 1. If you have 2 of the same cards that are not the queen of hearts, so let's say you have 2 kings of spades, something like that, pays 19 to 1. Any suited 20 pays 9 to 1, and then all the rest of the 20s pay 4 to 1. That's one of the pay tables. Some of these other pay tables take the queens into account on some of the lower payouts. Like if one of your cards is a queen, it pays a little bit more. So there are a bunch of different pay tables. The house edge is pretty bad on these. It can be as high as 25%. The example I gave, I think it's close to 25%. But, some of the others may go down to the teens or something like that. But yeah, kind of a fun, your first 2 cards are 20. That happens enough that, yay.
Right.
So
right.
There you go.
We're going to have this in our casino too, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to offer only single deck games. And we're going to take away that payout for any 20. Just, God, I can't seem to hit this.
That's right. Well, see, you have the queen of hearts here, but then this is the queen of diamonds. Oh, yeah, they both have to be queen of hearts. Wait.
That's how we're going to stay in business. That's how we're going to pay the pit boss who's got to enter a million data points on each roll.
All right. Thank you for all the calls, everybody. That is going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations. From Brian and Sarah, from Josh, and from the boys over at Crap Vegas. We're going to see Josh from Crap Vegas at, again, it's only Josh. I have never seen the 2 of them together, Josh and Chris.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Have you?
I've never seen the 2 of them together or the 2 of them with Beyonce. Either.
The thing is, Chris goes to Vegas constantly. They're always talking about, oh, yeah, I'm going to do another trip. And this is the weekend he can't go when everybody's going to be there? I don't buy that.
Something fishy here. I mean, it's almost like he has a family.
Yeah, we also got a donation from podcast favorite John B. He says, since my karma donation worked so well last time, got to do it again. Last trip, I was winning before my flight. I took an offer to get bumped from my flight, and this trip's airfare is paid for from that. Oh, nice. Headed to Vegas October 30th through November the 2nd, bringing my mom for the first few days. She's never been to Vegas, so that'll be a different way to see the city. Oh, that's great. That's so great. He's bringing us well. Then off to Zorkfest. See you guys there, John B. So good. Looking forward to seeing you again, John.
John, you find one of those big, huge slot machines. Put your mom in front of it. Give her $100.
Yeah. Those Big Berthas. They used to be called big. My mom still calls them a Big Bertha.
Big Bertha. Yeah.
Hey, at the top of our webpage, you'll find a link to our store where you can buy You Can Bet on That merchandise. Also, you can find a list of all the gambling-related shows coming up on American television at youcanbetonThat.com/TV-listings. And we've got a list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonThat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at Facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Dr. Mike, I'm going to see you in less than a week.
Yes, you will. Friday afternoon.
Yep.
Probably around 3:30 or 4.
Okay, very good.
I'm looking forward to it because it's been a while since I've been to Vegas.
Gosh,
so.
Vegas. Yeah, boy, it has. When is the last time you went to Vegas, Dr. Mike?
I don't even remember.
Wow. Yeah, I'm thinking about that.
I was a young man the last time I was there.
Oh, my God. That was a long time ago. Yeah, gosh. It has been a while since both of us have been there together. So, yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yep, that'll be nice. So, let me tell you this little story.
Yes, please.
To end the podcast here. You know me, Mark, how I like to come up with ideas and plans and things like that.
Yeah, different things.
Different things. Yeah. So we're getting ready for work the other morning, my wife and I said, Lynn, I was laying in bed this morning and I was thinking that I think I'm going to start a business like those services where like a woman's having a bachelorette party or just getting together and a guy will come and, dress like a policeman and strip down to a G-string and dance and do all this stuff. I'm going to start one of those businesses. But what I'm going to do is the guy that shows up is going to be a guy like me, just a regular old guy, no muscles or anything, big belly or something. Dressed up just in regular clothes. And then you strip down into like your G-string and instead of dancing, you just talk. You just have good intellectual talk.
You listen to what the women have to say. Yeah.
Yeah, you listen to them and you support them, things like that. That's going to be my business. And I'm going to call it something like Real Men Down Under or something like that. Real Men Inside. And then she turns to me this whole time, not saying a word as I'm going over this plan. And she turns to me and says, a subsidiary of You Can Bet on That. That's all she said, and then walked out of the room.
Yeah,
a subsidiary of You Can Bet on That.
I just wonder if I want the You Can Bet on That brand associated with that, number one. Number two, I'm a little concerned that you without a shirt has come up twice in this episode.
Right. Well, in this case, I don't have pants on either.
Oh, there you go. Okay, good.
What do you think of my idea?
I'll get back to you on that, Dr. Mike.
And she's later, what brought that on? I said, well, I was just thinking of ways to increase money income for gambling.
For you?
For me. Some way to have more money to gamble with, just a little side job.
I just don't think you're going to get much return on investment. Let me just say that.
Well, the investment's not much. I just have to show up, take my clothes. I'll have to buy a G-string, I guess. A little investment.
That's right. You'll probably need to bring a mop, too, when you go to, because of...
A mop. That's part of the deal, Mark. They provide the mop and the bucket.
Okay, that's part of the deal. I'll show up anywhere within a 50-mile radius. Must supply your own bucket and mop.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of women out there just like to have someone to talk to for a while.
Yeah, or Curtis.
Yeah, or Curtis. Yeah, right. See you later, Curtis in Milwaukee.
What a great way to end the episode, Dr. Mike. Thank you for bringing that joy to all of us. For those of you going to Zorkfest, we can't wait to see you. Gosh, it's less than a week. We'll see you then. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
Mark, that was wonderful. I had no idea you were so talented. The audience is going to love you.